You're listening to an IOE podcast from the UCL Institute of Education, powered by UCL Minds.
Welcome to the IOE, and thanks so much for joining us this evening. So for those of you that don't know me, I'm Professor Becky Francis, Director of the UCL Institute of Education, and I'd really like to extend a warm welcome, thanks to you all for coming through the rain in many cases. So you join us at the start of a new academic year here at the IOE, and what better way to start term and kick off the events programme than with a lecture from the Global Teacher of the Year. It's tremendous. And this is the third lecture that we've hosted, the third time that we've hosted the Varkey Foundation's Global Teacher Prize Lecture, something that we're really delighted to do. The prize itself provides a really welcome recognition and celebration of the vitally important profession that teaching is, in imparting knowledge and understanding, in inspiring people to achieve great things, both for themselves and for others, and in supporting whole communities to thrive. And the prize also showcases just how rewarding and fulfilling teaching can be for teachers themselves, and the difference that great teachers can make. Now, at the IOE, we want to help share those sentiments as much as we can, as well as help engender the conditions for inspiring and fulfilling teaching. We, as many of you know, are the largest single providers of initial teacher education across the country, unique among the Russell Group in quality at scale. And we support the profession with continuing development and learning throughout their careers, and not just here, but across the world. So this evening, we'll be hearing about the work of Peter Tabichi, teacher and Franciscan Brother in remote rural Kenya. The challenges that Peter faces as a teacher are considerable: poverty, famine, social problems, very large classes, and poorly equipped classrooms. But what Peter has achieved for his pupils offers a particularly vivid illustration of the importance and the rewards of teaching. And before we hear from Peter himself, can I please invite Vikas Pota, Chairman of the Varkey Foundation and member of the Board of its Trustees, to say a few words. Vikas.
Friends, allow me to start off by thanking the Institute of Education for hosting this lecture, third year in a row, and also Becky for her friendship. The IOE is a leader in the world, and we're honored to always be invited to present our Global Teacher Prize winner at this event. Peter and I have just returned from a tour of the US, where he spoke at the UN General Assembly and many events associated with it. There, what we found was something that actually angers me massively. When we think about all the problems in the world, and the UN meets to take a stock on the Sustainable Development Goals that were set in 2015. These are targets that the world has agreed to meet in 2030, and to align all of our resources, whether you're talking about climate change, whether you're talking about war and peace, whether you're talking about justice, whether you're talking about gender equality. The reality is that education forms the bedrock to achieve all of those. We have a fundamental belief in that. So when it comes to that, when you look at SDG 4, which is to do with education, I want to ask you a question. So by 2030, to achieve that goal, there's one very simple metric that we have to achieve. One simple number. And that number is to do with the recruitment of new teachers. Okay? The recruitment of new teachers to deliver that goal. Because in that, there is an understanding that that goal cannot be delivered without great teachers. Now, I want to take a poll. How many teachers do you think we need to recruit between now and 2030 to achieve that goal? So is it between 0 and 1 million? Put your hands up, please. This is for the world. As a little pessimist, huh? Is it between 1 and 5 million? Okay, a few hands going up. Okay. You're a professor, sir, right? Right. 5 and 10 million. More hands. Friends, 69 million new teachers are required. That's jaw-dropping. And when you think about that, when you think about needing 69 million teachers in 11 years to deliver that goal, you'll understand that the problem is not just of access to education, but quality of education that we receive. This learning poverty that the world is facing is humongous. There's so many figures and statistics and facts that I can give you that your mind will spin. So in that regard, why is it important to celebrate teachers? The reality is, today no one, and I repeat, no one, apart from all of you, want to become a teacher. Because that is what the statistics show. So to arrest that decline, we have taken a decision as a foundation to put across to everyone inspiring teachers. Celebrate their status. Because yes, of course we can pay them. Of course we can reduce their workload. But actually what we can do quite simply is to value them more. What we can do is we can pat them on the back, we can congratulate them, we can thank every teacher that we come across. And that motivation, we believe, will increase the status of the teaching profession. Today, unfortunately, our own research shows that we consider teaching on par with a middle to low ranking social status profession. If we all accept that education is the bedrock to achieving all prosperity, then why is it that the main actor in the education workforce is actually enjoys a very low status? That is not acceptable. And that is why we turn our focus to the Global Teacher Prize. And through that, we showcase the likes of Brother Peter Tabichi, who won the prize this year. Peter is a maths and science teacher from a rural community in Kenya. Despite all the issues that he faces, the challenges that he faces that you hear him speak about, he goes and achieves outsized results. I want to know why. I want you to know why. And of course, we assume that he's an incredible teacher. But the spirit that he uses, the spirit that overcomes him, actually results in him dedicating his entire resources towards the community. Friends, this is a teacher who gives away 80% of his salary to the community. I'll repeat, 80% of his salary goes to the community. So, like I said, apart from being an excellent teacher, apart from being an incredibly community-spirited leader, in him we have a role model for the world. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Brother Peter Tabichi.
Thank you so much. It's a great honor to be here, all the way from a remote village where I was born to such a wonderful place, speaking to people. It's something I never imagined that will happen one time. So I say this is a privilege. I want to thank God for such a privilege. I want to thank everyone who is here and to listen to my story. Also get time also to learn from you. I want to thank Beck Francis and the Institute of Education for giving me this chance to share my story. And most importantly, I want to thank my students. It's because of their achievement, what they have achieved, that's why I'm here. Being a teacher, you see, my clients, the most important people are the children. And they have dreams. So if we don't, if they don't, whatever that we are doing to them, it doesn't come out, then we will not be recognized. So I really thank my students. And then I also thank my fellow teachers who are very supportive. We work as a team. Teamwork, I can say that is what has really made this to happen. I teach science and in the Department of Science, so they are very supportive. And then even the school administration, very supportive. They are supportive because they know what is the output of the whole thing. And then I also want to thank the Varkey Foundation for really giving me the award, which has also made me go to places and get all the recognition. But I believe it's not about me, it's about teachers all over the world who are doing great work. And of course, there are also other people who are doing great work. So as you have been told, my name is Brother Peter Tabichi. I teach maths and physics at Keriko Secondary School in Kenya. That's in Africa. I'm also a Franciscan brother. Some people may not know who is a brother. Brother is like a monk. But a monk, the difference between a monk and a brother is a monk, in most cases, they pray, they're indoors praying, but a brother goes out to work with the people. And in my case, I teach. That's what I do, and I like it. Just before I give you my story, I'm just going to go quickly through this, and then have a question. In case you have a question or a comment or something you want to share with me, I welcome that. So there's a question here. You'll answer it as we continue. So I want you to ask yourself, what is the purpose of education? What is the purpose of education? And I'm going to ask that question at the end. I'll not expect an answer, but just ask yourself that question. What's the purpose of education? So I was raised up in a rural and remote village, as I've said, in Kenya. I never even knew that I'll even get a chance to go to a secondary school because of the challenges. Even walking to school barefooted, no facilities in the elementary school, primary school. And then I can say that even at home, there are also challenges. Okay, I never knew that I'll get a chance even to go to the high school, but it happened. And I can say that happened because of the support of the family. Like, I come from the family of teachers. My own father was a primary school teacher. He's now retired. And it inspired me so much. Even the other members were also very supportive. And I liked his way of teaching. When he is teaching, he doesn't just teach academic knowledge. He teaches kind of skills to make one really become someone who is productive and all of that. And I liked his style, not much kind of academic oriented. And then I saw from them, the members and including my father, their dedication, which they bring, the teachers bring, dedication that meant teachers bring to the community. So I saw dedication, generosity, and passion in doing whatever that you do. Passion in what you are doing, generosity and dedication. There are also other things, but that's what I can just share with you now. And then as a teacher, as you may know, as a teacher and a Franciscan brother, I give 80% of my income to the needy. And I feel so happy and energized by helping you. It gives me a lot of joy. So where I teach, the school is a sub-county public, like a state school, secondary school in Kenya. The enrollment at the moment is now 500, and it's still increasing. A few years ago, it was 200. Well, at the moment, there are more girls than boys, but just a few years ago, we had few girls. And maybe later on, we are going to see the reason. And then it is located in a semi-arid area that experiences drought and famine every 3 to 5 years. And I can say that students come from diverse cultural backgrounds and religious backgrounds. Like in Kenya, we have over 42 tribes. And where I come from, there are also more than 7 tribes. So in that community, that village, it's called Pwani Village. And at times it's so quite tricky, At times we have to be very careful on how to handle that kind of a situation. But it should be an opportunity, not a challenge. So there are challenges, there are a number of challenges. Just before I say what I do, I have to really give you a picture for you to know what is happening there. And then I'll tell you what I've done, my personal contribution, because I know everyone has a role to play. So About 85% of the students are low achievers. They come, they join the school with the low entry marks. It's not the intention, the objective of the school that they should all allow that to happen. It's because those who score high marks, they want to go to the top schools. They want to go join national schools. Those good schools. And then those who come from poor families with the low marks end up now, they have no option other just to go to the nearby. So those are the kind of students we have, like 85% of them. So just a few who can really do well. And then at times, if not careful with that, with those students, they develop low self-esteem because at times they think that they cannot achieve, but try to really support them and give them that encouragement that they have a talent. Every child has a talent. Every child has a gift. And that's our role as a teacher. And myself as an individual, that's what I try to really raise their self-esteem. The school is well resourced. There are no ICT facilities like now, and also other facilities. Like at the moment, we have like one computer, one desktop computer, lab equipment. There are just a few only for teachers to do demonstrations. So if all the students want to do like a practical, it's not possible. Maybe unless they want to, that's to be done in turns. Then the school is double-streamed with no library at the moment. Last year it was single-streamed. And we could have like 120 students in one classroom. But now this year they had to look for a way of making it double-streamed. So we still have 60 to 70 students in one classroom. No library, no kitchen, no dining hall, and of course the classrooms are still not enough. About 95% of the students come from very poor families. Food insecurity is a big challenge, and at times students come in the morning and with low level of concentration in the class because you say you need food for energy. And some students cannot get dinner, so they only rely on the food provided in school, breakfast and lunch. Breakfast is porridge, and lunch is githeri, that is local name for combination of maize and beans. And then a third of the students are either total orphans or partial orphans, and almost similar challenges, facing the same challenges I faced. Even myself, I was also a partial orphan. I lost my mother when I was so young, and it was a bit really hard for the family, and my father had to do everything to ensure that he gives us really the best education, and we are very comfortable. And then they also go through my students also go through a number of other challenges, like we have cases of drug abuse, teenage pregnancy, early school dropout, early marriage, cases of suicide. Like 2 years ago, we had some students, because of that slow self-esteem, we ended up doing that, and so we had to look for ways of really making them believe that they have something in life they can do. They have a gift, they have a potential. Students walk for long distances. The same thing which was happening to me. Some walk as long as 70 kilometers on roads that are very poor. Some have never even seen what is this tar, the tarmac, which is well kind of done. So roads are very poor. Like when it rains, it's very terrible, even for teachers. No internet. They don't know what is Wi-Fi. That is, if you mention that to them, it might not have an idea what is Wi-Fi. And teachers have to struggle really trying to, like, in the case you have to get that, you have to use buy data bundles. Or like myself, I have to travel to places, cyber cafes over the weekend or in the evening or over the whole day in order to do that, get some content. So this is what I've done. I've introduced some programs. I'm the patron of the Christian Society, so the patron of Young Christian Society, whereby I offer some spiritual direction. And then I also facilitate one on one, remedial sessions for low achievers, because majority of the students are low achievers. And then I also get time to visit the students. I make arrangements with their parents so that I visit their homes. We get a chance to interact with them, and that enhances the relationship between the teacher and the parents and the students. And then to overcome the low self-esteem among the students due to their poor family where they come from, I introduced the Talent Nurturing Club. This is a club for really whereby we identify the talent of the student, because I believe that every child has a potential, as a talent. So identify and then we nurture it. Because I saw that there are some students who can sing, others can draw, others can paint, all of that. And then I also expanded the school STEM club, like science club, and I'm the patron. I'm a classroom teacher. I'm not like a senior teacher or a principal or deputy. So that's what I can say my role, biggest role in the school, the patron of STEM club. And I do my best to really ensure that the students are able to discover their potential. And then these activities give the students to believe that they can do much in life. So we have those STEM club, and then we also have Peace Club. Peace Club is a way of uniting the students, come together. Now that they come from different, like now we have 7 tribes in our area, so there are a number of activities. I engage them, like tree planting, singing, jogging. Myself, I like jogging, so at times in the evening, one time, so we jog. So the idea is just, regardless of what they're doing, the idea is just to make them work together, really work as a team, uniting them. And then at times they also get a chance to plant trees, and of course, this is something that all of us needs to do as a way of also dealing with the climate change, which is a global crisis. This is my teaching approach. There are so a number of things I do, but I'm just going to quickly take you through what I do, my teaching approach. And I believe that the students normally do, in the future they want to do courses based on their belief, the number of people they have come across, they have met. If each and every day they are watching movies, they want to do something what they are watching. So at times the people they meet, those are the people who are going to influence them. So, based on that, it's like what we have to give the students has to be very exciting, And therefore, that's why I try to use different approaches in order for them to really enjoy. Learning is supposed to be enjoyable. Because there is something I read written by William Atherward, which says, a mediocre teacher tells, the good teacher explains, a superior teacher demonstrates, a great teacher inspires. So it means inspiring is the main thing. It's not about really lecturing, academic, It's about really motivating, making them believe that they can. So I use learner-centered method, activity-based, learner-centered kind of approach. I integrated kind of approach, like kind of STEM approach. And then I use hands-on learning method, whereby, because we don't have many resources, I use low-cost apparatus in the classroom to help students have hands-on learning experience. Like at times I can take like a matchbox, those symbol kind of, demonstrating about friction if I'm teaching physics. I also promote peer-to-peer teaching method, whereby in order to make learning interesting, and then I combine the high achievers and low achievers together, and then boys and girls together, so that also one way of encouraging more girls to also feel that they can, at times girls, they think that they should always like be behind boys. So that's one way of really motivating them. And then the other thing that I do is I focus on making these children global citizens, and ensure that also work on their character. That's promoting like honesty, integrity, respect, trust, hope, and so on and so forth. These are some of their achievements. There's so much that has been achieved, but I'm just going to mention just a few things. Last year, our school was recognized as the best public school in Kenya Science and Engineering Fair. From that background, that's something that has been a title that these top schools have been been getting. But last year it happened that it's our school, and that really motivated students, and the school. And I saw that their self-esteem was raised. And then it has made the students believe that the impossible is possible, that they can. And we have seen that even they are motivated even to work hard in sciences, including girls. Even girls now are doing even better than boys. And then activities like this, the STEM club which we are doing, have enabled the students to develop their creativity and problem solving. You know, we are facing so many challenges in Africa, like in that area, there are so many challenges. But when they learn the problem solving skills, they'll be able to know how to deal with those challenges. That's why it's very important for them to really learn the problem-solving skills. That's why I also engage them in the club STEM activities, science activities. Last year, 2017, we had some students who emerged winners in chemistry category in STEM club at the national level, and that's when the school got recognition. And we had, the following year, we had so many students joining. You know, it was on over the news and on the newspapers. And just from that, the school got a recognition, and we had so many students joining the school. And then this year, we had some students who also won, who came up with design a simple mathematical device that can really benefit people with visual and hearing impairment. The same students were selected to represent Kenya in the prestigious Intel International Science and Engineering Fair, which was held in Phoenix, Arizona, USA, May this year. The two students participated and emerged winners, and they were awarded by UN. And that also was a kind of, it gave, I can say, our school good reputation. So I can say that, like, the enrollment has gone up. At the moment, it's 500. 2016, it was 200. Just by, I can say that, I can easily tell that it was by that recognition. And then, number of indisciplined cases have gone down. We now have disciplined students, and you can easily tell if you go to the school, students training now doing even well in the other areas, like academically training universities. Last year, we had for the first time students training universities. And from such a school, it's hard to get students training tertiary, like universities. So it happened last year. And this year, we hope we are going to have more. And then we have more students who wants to do STEM courses. We have students who are doing computer science, others doing nursing, and so on and so forth. And they have that interest. And of course, others want to do other courses, like teachers and so on and so forth. And lastly, because of time, I just want to mention a few things here and there I've learned myself as a teacher, all what can be useful, what I've learned by so doing this with the students in such a background, what I faced when I was growing up, and by so doing with the students, what have I learned? So these are some of a few things, is that as teachers, if at all we are to do much to the students, we have to promote global values, make them global citizens. Education is not just about academic success. We want to make them global citizens, promote respect, trust, honesty, and so on and so forth. At times, these students come from different backgrounds, so we have to be very creative in order to give them maximum support. And we have to cooperate with the other people, teamwork. That's why you have to learn how to work with the other teachers, the school administration. At times, if there are misunderstanding, you might not be able to know how to. So you really know how to work with them. There must be good cooperation, and that's why I really appreciate the great support from my fellow teachers and the school administration and other people. There must be resilience and humility. At times, you deal with students who are really indisciplined, and you feel like you just want to walk out of the classroom, but you have to really have that humility and have resilience, and then have passion in what you are doing, because I've said passion is what can make you do wonders. If you know that you can achieve, you will finally be able to achieve it. You have passion, and of course you have to be generous. Give more. Know that your role is to really give more to the students, to the community, and so on and so forth. And then, of course, embrace effective use of technology, because science and technology can play a leading role in solving problems that the world is currently facing. And then, take initiative to transform the world. Don't wait to become, to rise in ranks, to be like myself, to become the deputy senior teacher or principal to make a difference. Start with where you are. Like myself, I'm a classroom teacher. You just do the best. Take initiative to transform the world. Just the ordinary things you are doing. Okay, you do that with your level best, ordinary things in an extraordinary way, because our role as teachers is to unlock the potential of every child. Every child has a gift, every child has a potential, and we really have to focus on really doing more and talking less. Thank you.
Peter, that was really inspiring. Thank you so much. It's been a privilege to listen to you. We're going to have, first of all, a short response, I think, from Vikas. Do you have a few remarks, Vikas?
Where do I start? The thing that gets me every time about when Peter speaks, wherever he is what he ended with, which is every child has a gift. Every child has potential. And that actually, is lovely to hear, actually. And when I speak to other teachers, it's also one of those common things that comes out. But to hear, the winner of our Global Teacher Prize also affirm a belief in that, I think is really special.
Thank you. So we're going to take some questions from the audience. I think both Peter and Vikas will be trying to answer, and I'll try to also keep the conversation going. I may be tempted to start throwing in some of my questions, but I'll try to keep that to a minimum. So perhaps we can have a show of hands, and I'll try to take a couple of questions at a time. So I've got a lady here in the second row and a hand right at the back. Thank you.
Hello. Yeah, it's my pleasure to listen to your speech. I used to work in Kenya as well. I noticed that it's a mixed school you are working. So I'm wondering, could you tell me more about the gender perspective? I mean, you have boys and girls in your school. Do you think they face different challenges because it has 7 tribes or more? So some tribes may have like certain social norms or cultural practice that may bring obstacles for them to come to school. So what are they and how do you deal with that? Thanks.
Thanks so much. And there was a question at the back.
Sorry. Hi, thank you so much for your talk. It was really good. You mentioned that in your class there's about 60 to 70 students, and I'm currently a primary school teacher with 30 students, and it is very difficult to manage. So with the number of students you have in your class, how do you manage, their behavior and just the different strategies, the learning and teaching strategies that you might teach them on a day-to-day basis with so many students in your class?
Thanks very much. So 2 great questions. One on gender and participation and sort of cultural issues that might be emerging from the diversity in the classroom. And secondly, one on class size and the challenges of that.
So the first one on the coming from different backgrounds, I can say that we have clubs like Peace Club. That's a way of really uniting them, because when I joined the school in the year 2015, 2016, towards the end of 2015, 2016, I saw that the students were like grouping themselves based on gender, on tribes, and all of that. I don't know whether that someone was observing, but the first week I was able to see that. And you could see that those are girls, they are separate. And then when at times I knew some students, they come from this tribe, they just want to be separate. There were those divisions. And it happened that I was appointed as the patron of Peace Club. And I felt it is an opportunity. So that has really been uniting them, engaging them in activities that will really make them see themselves as one people. At times, it brings like conflict, but once measures are taken, like uniting ways, just you look for something that can unite them. They really know that they are one people. They don't belong. They don't see themselves as boys and girls, as I don't know, from this tribe, or from this denomination, based on I don't know what they come. So they see themselves as one people. They see themselves as a human being. And then girls have also tried to promote science, STEM. In most of the things I do, really try to be aware of that gender sensitivity, engage them in activities, engage them in activities for them to participate. That's why you see, like when I was appointed as the patron of Science Club, majority of the students who are doing so well, like the ones who went to participate at the International Science Fair, were girls. Even the year 2017, students who were awarded by the Royal Society of Chemistry, also girls. Boys were there, but I can say that this is what happens. When you really give girls opportunities, they stand out, they come to understand themselves. They see that there is something that has been hidden from them. And they are even able to do better than even boys. And that's what has been happening.
Yeah, that's fantastic to hear. Thank you. And what about the class size question? How do you deal with those large classes?
It's quite it's a challenge. That has been happening because we have a teacher shortage. And like last year, we had 7 teachers for 400, 7 teachers, 400 students. So I used to have like 33 lessons per week, okay? So it was a challenge. So that's why I said as a teacher, you have to really be creative and think of the best ways on how to handle those cases. And one of the ways myself I like and what I'm known for maybe in my school, I integrate technology. I like also engaging them in group work. Group work, young people, when they are in groups, they are able to do so well. So I engage them in group work, I integrate technology and try to use such like methods so that it becomes really interesting. Otherwise, it can be very tricky. You'll have in discipline cases, even, correcting books, it might, all of that might be very hard, but it requires one to be creative. When you go, as you walk home in the evening, at the end of the day, you have to reflect, what am I going to do in order to really give these students the best? That's what I try to do.
Fantastic tips, thank you. Let's have another round of questions. I know we'll be warming, I knew it. So we've got one at the front, a gentleman at the front over here, and then a hand at the back as well.
Thank you, Peter. You mentioned that education isn't just about academic knowledge. I would be interested to know what other skills you're encouraging your students to develop.
Thank you. Gentleman here.
I'd like to know more about how easy or difficult was it to get other teachers and the administration on board with all the different activities which you planned for your school. Because that's usually, as a teacher, when you have different ideas, you do face a lot of hindrances when you're trying to do something different. So how easy or difficult was that?
Thank you. And then there was, thank you.
Hi. You spoke a lot about nurturing potential. So I was just wondering, how do you think are the best means to achieve unlocking someone's potential, especially a young person who's got so much ahead of them? It could go in so many directions.
Thanks so much. So do you want, shall I give you a refresh? One was about how do you combine academic knowledge and skills development that you mentioned in your teaching. Did you want to start with that?
So on that, I believe that education is not just about academic knowledge. It's more of really making the students to be holistic, holistic human being, because at the end of it, they are going to be in the community, and if they don't know how they are going to deal with the members, how they are going to really socialize with the members, it will be a challenge to them. So I believe they should learn these skills, They should learn how to work as a teamwork, learn about, being honest, the soft skills. These are some of the things, if they can't learn when they're growing up, they will never learn them when they are advanced in stage, like when they are working. When they have, it will be so hard for them. So I believe it is an opportunity for them to learn when they are young. And therefore, they become holistic human, kind of. And that's why when I'm teaching, I don't just academic. I also try also to bring in the other aspects. And I'm also the patron of young Christian students. So I also try to also share with them so much about life skills and so on and so forth. Because I believe they should learn how to really, those values. At times we are facing so much, I don't know what's happening in the community, because these young people did not have an opportunity to learn those things when they were growing up.
Yeah. Perhaps I can build on that. I'm not forgetting the other questions, but you mentioned the notion of the global citizen. You were very passionate about that, and you mentioned it several times. I mean, obviously, across the world, we have divisions, the rise of nationalist populism, not just in the West, but also we see it in India and in other parts of the world too. What should we as teachers be doing, do you think? Do you think that, education has a role here, or?
Yes, I feel that it plays a very important role, because there are so many activities that the students can do, that can bring them together. You know, when they come together, that's already showing them that there's a need for them to work together. And then there's a need to appreciate one another, regardless of where they come from, regardless of how they look like, regardless of whether they are like, I don't know. So that making them work together and appreciate one another, I feel like it's an opportunity. And also, like when the students had the opportunity of coming to US this year in May, they went back and they were sharing with the other students that we met these people and this is what happened, we won the plane here. So all of that was really helping them understand, you know, people from different backgrounds. So I believe that is education is all about, but not just about just teaching them about what are the three laws of the three laws of like Newton's three laws. Yeah.
Thank you. And actually, on a similar theme, we had this question about the teaching team and convincing your fellow teachers or bringing them with you in the innovative practices that you're sharing. Has that been a problem for you, your fellow teachers, or are they working with you?
Okay, I can say that when I joined the school in the year 2015, I was new. I just came from a private school, and I can say that we were doing so much, and I came with that energy, you know, and they felt that I was new. You know, when you are new, they say that you are doing this because you are new. After a short time,
You'll burn out.
you are going to be with, like us, you are going to be with, yeah. So they were not understanding, but now I think I kept that because of, you know, it's about really knowing what you are doing. These people have potential, you know, you have to have the passion. I kept that. And then for years, for second year, it was happening. So, and then when they saw that it was bringing some good results, you know, students were doing so well, you know, even the school principal was also promoting like what some of us were doing. Students were succeeding, you know. Like in the year 2017, we had some students who went all the way to the national from such a school. Then the teachers were now able to really able to support, and they were even able to really, even the school principal was now encouraging the teachers really for us to learn together. And like I was able to, like, I'm good in ICT, teaching them some ICT technology, kind of ICT skills, sort of that.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you. And then we had a great question over here about unlocking potential. How do you unlock the potential of each child?
Yes, I believe that every child has a gift. Every child has a potential. Regardless of where the challenges they are going through, whether they are low achievers, if you are very close, you interact with them, just take your time to interact with them. You realize that there is something unique with them. You'll be able to see that one can draw, so can be able to, you know, drawing, painting, some can sing, you know, but that one you only discover once you have more time. So the best thing is engaging them in activities that will make them really be able to discover their talents. And that's why we have, I really introduced the Talent Nurturing Club to make them really be able to discover their talents. And yeah, and so on and so forth. The Talent Nurturing Club has really been assisting the students to discover their talents. And now we have students who can draw. Myself, I also like art. So I kind of like when I see students doing that and are able to really discover students who are able to do that. Yeah.
So it's having that diversity of opportunities for them to explore different. That's
exactly.
brilliant. Did you want to?
Yeah, I'm actually, I've never asked you this question, I don't think, and we've spent a lot of time together. You know, in March, maybe even in December, when we announced you in your top 50, and then in February in the top 10, and then in March you won the prize in front of a galaxy of stars. Hugh Jackman announced you, and then you went back to Kenya where 20,000 people greeted you, and then your president met you. And since then, you've been on this global tour. You've been going to speak and inspire. You know, you've met other heads of government. I mean, we were in the White House 2 weeks ago. Then you opened the U.S. Congress 2 weeks ago. Alongside Will Smith, you've been appointed ambassador for Education Cannot Wait. And it goes on and on and on. How do you feel about all this?
Okay, I can say much has changed, great transformation, but I don't want to say that I really feel that it's a privilege. It's a privilege, but I feel that it's an opportunity for me to do more. I feel like there's more ahead of me. There's so much I have to do. And it's an opportunity to inspire and empower more people. And that's what really gives me happiness. So I feel that it's an opportunity for me. It's an opportunity. And of course, even so many people ask me the same, and they say they kind of like appreciate. But I believe there is something beyond that, and I believe that it's like, for a teacher being given such a kind of a recognition, going to the U.S., U.S. Congress, going to the White House, meeting presidents, I feel it's it's beyond, it's extraordinary. Even right now, I'm trying to cope, If you go to my village where I come from, you wouldn't believe that today I'm seated here. I believe it's beyond, it's really a kind of a recognition beyond what is really. So I believe it's something I should really use well, an opportunity to really do more. And
you're providing an amazing, an inspirational advertisement, really, for teaching and on a global scale. I guess, though, you've both alluded to some of the, obviously the enormous challenges, particularly in the context that you've been working in, but also Vikas alluded to the challenges of recruitment that are global, and we in Britain know about the local situation and so on. I mean, and you're driven by your faith as well as obviously your own sort of personal drive and so on. But when we think about different national contexts, I mean, are there key things that we should be doing or that policymakers should be doing to encourage people into teaching? I'll ask you and then I'll ask Vikas.
Yes, I think more needs to be done. At times, teachers, we go through I know what's I've been teaching for now 12 years, go through a number of challenges. At times you feel like you want to quit teaching, But I think something needs to be done to motivate more teachers, to make, at times, I've seen students when they want to choose courses, they want to avoid, teaching is given the last option, Right. And I had it being mentioned that no one wants to become a teacher. So I feel that something needs to be done to make teaching attractive and also to motivate teachers who are working to look for a way of retaining them.
Right, yes, okay, and keeping them in the profession.
Yes.
Okay.
We set up our foundation almost a decade ago, and I remember I don't come from the sector, I don't come from philanthropy, and so I went and spoke to a number of different organizations that exist out there, Save the Children, UNICEF, and so on and so forth. And when I asked them in terms of where do you think we should focus as an organization, and you'd get usual answers, school feeding programs, scholarship programs, school building programs. One thing when I stepped away from all these conversations, trying to comprehend what I'd learned, no one mentioned teachers. And that seemed to me quite daft, given that education relies on the teacher workforce. So when we've turned our attention to teachers, and that is our singular focus as a foundation, we've seen a number of things happen. So at first, when we did the Teacher Prize, we didn't get much traction, actually. This is our 5th winner. And there was a lot of snootiness out there, actually, as to why does a teacher deserve $1 million prize, that kind of thing. But today, thankfully, no one ever mentions, firstly, the $1 million, or they don't even raise their eyes, simply because it's well established. We also, what we found was that one of our criticisms was when policymakers actually get together in these fora, when they come up with these grand ideas and these grand schemes, the teacher workforce was simply not included. And so what we have done is provide an impetus for policymakers to ignore teachers at their peril. And so that centrality of the teacher, I think, has started permeating through. If you take the UN last week, they're very famous for having these really grand occasions in the UN General Assembly. And what you find is you find government ministers, you get think tankers, you get technical experts. You'll never find a teacher. And when you do, the whole conversation changes. And that is what I think the power of the Teacher Prize has been, in terms of to drag everyone to understand that actually teacher's voice is very important when it comes to the discussion. A predecessor of yours, Peter, and I think you'll remember Maggie, who also was on this stage. I remember we were at the UN with her, actually, and she was asked a question on education technology. She works in the Canadian Arctic, which suffers from huge cases of incidence rates of suicide and other addictions. And she was asked in terms of what is the role of education technology in the classroom or in your system. She said, well, I don't see an iPad giving that child a hug when he's crying. And so as soon as she said that, it kind of reset the conversation. And that's when a penny drop moment you could see in the room happened, where people started talking about this. Now, that we find time and time again. And that's why we've decided to focus on teachers. And that's why the winner of the Global Teacher Prize and all of our finalists are fairly important to that mission.
Thank you. Peter, did you want to have any last words for the audience? Any last messages that you want to leave us with?
Just to appreciate this chance to share my story, and just I believe that everyone has a role to play in the world, transforming the world, and we can change the world in our small ways. We don't have to perform miracles. Just doing ordinary things, you just give it your best, you have your passion. Once you have the passion, it can drive you to do many things.
It's lovely to have such an optimistic message, isn't it, in often challenging times at the moment, but I think we've had a really inspiring evening. Peter, thank you so much. Please join me.
Thanks so much for downloading and listening to this